Hello, folks, and welcome into the Williamson County High School Football Report. My name is Charles Pulliam, joined here by Josh Vardaman, kind of our behind-the-scenes sports expert. You kind of been covering Williamson County football for some time, right?
I have, yeah. I know my way around Williamson County, that's for sure.
There we go. We got Joe Williams, our sports editor, taking a leave of absence for some work in some better climates, I think, overall. But Joe will be with us when he can. For now, though, we got a big week of high school football coming up here. Starting off, I want to go to Franklin right away. Ravenwood is traveling to Franklin in a big all-county matchup. There's a new turf field. There's a region contest on the line. There's a lot here, Josh.
Yeah, this is maybe the biggest game for both teams so far. Ravenwood sitting at 5th overall in the latest AP poll that came out. Franklin off a big win against Riverdale where they looked really good. So this will be an exciting matchup, a little bit different. It could be a high-scoring matchup this year, so it's a little different between these two teams.
Well, we go back to last year. It was a 13-10 contest there. And again, Ravenwood off to a nice start there. Turned a lot of heads there, but they're getting everybody's best game this year, it seems like. And Franklin's ready for a good game there.
Yeah, I think they are. Franklin's rolling with quarterback Joshua Nichols, who last week threw for 252 yards and 3 scores. But on the other side, Ravenwood has a good quarterback of their own with Brian Garcia, so I think this will be an exciting matchup.
Ravenwood, of course, capable of an explosive offense out there. They're getting some of those guys back there. I know Anthony Holmes had a hit pointer. He's expected back. Ravenwood should be at full strength here. And again, the 5th-ranked team traveling to Franklin in an all-Williamson County matchup there with a region game on the line. Should be a beauty there. Also, we got more Williamson County action, and that's going to be at Centennial where Independence travels. And Independence looked pretty good last week.
Yes, they did, finally. Looking good last week, I guess you could say, after a week 1 kind of disappointment there. This will be an interesting matchup also. Centennial's 0-2, but don't sleep on the Cougars. They always give the Eagles a good game, so I would think this is going to be another good rivalry matchup.
Well, that's looking at Centennial's record. They're trying to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time in almost a decade, I want to say. Whereas Independence, again, a really rough start, but against one of the best teams in the state, and I say region when I say southeast region here. Oakland really took it to them, but saw some good things from Nathan Sisko, I think, at quarterback there.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of settling in to the season. Like you said, last week he went for 370 yards and 3 touchdowns. Of course, he has TJ Sheffield to throw the ball to, so that's always nice.
Isaiah Collier in the mix there as well at wide receiver. Between TJ and Isaiah, you really can't go wrong, and Independence able to take a 42-32 win against Summit in the border battle in week 2. More games to look into there. A region opener here for Region 5-5A as the Page Patriots, fresh off a wild game against Nolensville last week, will be traveling to Franklin County. What are you kind of seeing out of this one?
You know, this will be an interesting matchup. Of course, like you said, Page is coming off of a big win where they had to really expel everything at the end of the game to come back and beat Nolensville. I think this will be a very interesting game, but I like the Page Patriots in this one.
Page, of course, coming in 2-0. Both these teams 2-0 in that Region 5-5A opener. Our Gateway Tire Player of the Week, actually, for Week 2 came from Page, and that's Cade Walker for the Patriots. Walker really kind of is one of those young guys coming in. He's just a junior quarterback, but he's Coach Rathbone compared him to Brett Favre when talking about it. Just a slinger, you know, as he takes chances and a lot of that. Have you seen some good things out of Cade?
Yeah, so far, like you said, like Coach Rathbone said, he does kind of sling the ball everywhere. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that might be a bad thing, but when you have to replace a running back like Bubba Johnson, who moved to Spring Hill this year, you need good quarterback play, and they've gotten it so far.
Michael Burdick and Simon Simmons, of course, making some headway there at receiver for Cade as well. So, again, Cade, our Gateway Tire Player of the Week for Week 2. Looking in as well, we got a Brentwood team trying to make a little bit of a comeback after that Cane Ridge setback last week. They'll be taking on a Dixon County team, which is 2-0.
Yeah, and did you think you'd be saying that right now? I know I didn't. Seeing Dixon County with the best record in that game. Didn't think we'd see that, but I like Brentwood to make a repeat. They always seem to have Dixon County's number, as does everyone in that region, it seems like. So I like Brentwood in that one.
So Brentwood, of course, coming in with Cade Granzow is kind of taking over the young sophomore quarterback there for the Bruins. But he's got a lot of help there as well. But, you know, Granzow, again, just a sophomore QB stepping into the spotlight in some ways. This Brentwood team lost 27-24 to Cane Ridge last week in just a tight game.
Yeah, that was a tight game. It's kind of how Cane Ridge Brentwood goes in just about every sport, it seems like, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, anything like that. But Jordan Nichols had a really good game for Brentwood in that one. I think I have him down for 90 rushing yards and 81 receiving yards. If he can have another all-around game, I think Brentwood should be just fine.
Nichols leading the way. Nicholas leading the way there with 4 touchdowns, I think, rushing through 2 games here. So a great start there for him. Moving on, we got we mentioned the Nolensville Page game, and of course Nolensville going to be licking their wounds a little bit after that 38-35 setback. They led 28-7 at one point, and now they got a struggling Spring Hill team coming to town. How do you think the Knights recover out of this?
You know, I like to think the Knights will recover, but if Brandon Wharton isn't able to play, who knows what's going to happen in that one. After the setback last week, I think they're going to be a little hungry. I mean, they would have to be, you would think. So we'll see what happens.
It's been all Colton Dooley there at Nolensville. The senior running back has rushed for 5 touchdowns in the first week, 3 touchdowns in the second week. He's got almost 350 yards on, 48 carries or so. Dooley has been carrying the team offensively. But like you said, at quarterback, there's a big question mark there for Nolensville. Another game we want to look into, a region contest as well. Summit will be hosting a White County team in the midst of a big losing streak.
Yeah, and it's probably going to continue this week. Summit looked really good last week in a disappointing 42-32 loss against Independence, though like we said earlier, Independence had maybe their best game of the season. I like Summit to come in here and throw out that running game like they usually do and kind of handle things.
The Spartans, of course, George Odemegwu leading the way there. He actually threw for a touchdown pass against Independence as well. That game decided very late. Summit was able to pull within, I think, 28-26 in the third quarter. Got right there, but Cisco and crew able to lead the way out for Independence. More to look into. Fairview, off to a 1-1 start, will be traveling to Stewart County. The Yellow Jackets and Coach Chris Hughes got another road game.
Yeah, another road game and another opportunity for Cam Harris-Lusk to show everyone what he's made of. He kind of does a little bit of everything. Obviously, he was their quarterback last year, so you know he can throw the ball if he has to, but he's moved over to receiver/running back kind of combo, and he's looked really good this season, already throwing up 94 receiving yards, 36 rushing yards, and 4 touchdowns last week in their win.
Yeah, just an all-around athlete kind of player. Watched him. He's the point guard there on the basketball team as well. He just a true multi-sport athlete, capable of doing many different things there in Cam Harris-Lusk. A switch over here a little bit to some of our other matchups here as we look at Battleground Academy moving up to Good Pasture here, taking the trip up to Madison. The BGA boys and Nick Semtimfelter at quarterback. Always got to sound him out.
Yeah,
it's getting better. It's getting better. The Wildcats been looking really good.
Yes, they have. They have outscored opponents 87-7 through 2 games. So, hey, Good Pasture, you got someone coming for you this week. You better bring your A game.
And, of course, that game will be played on Friday as well. We're going to have coverage all around on the Williamson Herald. I want to remind folks to check out our coverage. We'll have roundups, we got photo galleries, we got videos, we got everything you need Williamson County football on the Williamson Herald website, and, of course, in the newspaper on Thursday. Another game to look into, and this is actually, I find this one pretty intriguing for when I was running through my picks this week. Christ Presbyterian Academy traveling over to Smyrna, and what should be just I don't know, it just looks like a good game.
Yeah, it does look like a good game. Both teams coming in at 2-0, and CPA coming off that big 38-28 win against Innsworth last week, and what was maybe going into last week as the game of the week around the Middle Tennessee area. CPA's looked really good so far, and I know Smyrna's 2-0, but CPA is rolling right now, it seems like.
The Lions loaded with weapons there between Kane Patterson, Ryan Elledge, Noah Henderson, guys just very capable of, well, we'll be seeing guys like that on Saturdays for sure. Also looking at the 3-time defending champion Brentwood Academy Eagles, cruised last week against Father Ryan. They'll be hosting a Pope John Paul II team. What do you see from the Eagles?
You know, the Eagles are looking really good. I think better than what most people expected right now. And that's kind of weird to say with a 3-time defending state champion. But they've really looked like they're growing at the beginning of the season, like Coach Cody White thought they would. Tamario Pleasant is a heck of a running back also.
He has really racked it up for the Eagles offense out there, which has just stormed opponents so far. A big task here for Pope John Paul II and a region opener there. at Lipscomb Academy. A pair of 0-2 teams will be meeting up there as Franklin Road Academy is going to be moving into Nashville there to see how Lipscomb is. What do you see out of that one?
You know, this will be an interesting game because both teams are winless so far. It'll be interesting to see if FRA can finally break that and get their first win of the season. It was a tough game for them last week. They fell down a bunch early and tried to make a late comeback, but it'll be an interesting game for sure.
The Panthers, of course, giving up almost 500 yards in their season opener. Coming back, a late turnover kind of decides it there in week 2. Lipscomb also had a great outing against Ensworth in week 1, so this should just be a knockout, drag-out game for a couple 0-2 teams. Also, Father Ryan, again, we mentioned that 43-3 setback against Brentwood Academy in week 2, but Coach Brian Rector and the team going to be hosting Stratford.
Yeah, I don't know if the 43-3 loss against Brentwood Academy last week really tells the whole story of Father Ryan. I think they're a lot better than that. They just ran into a buzzsaw last week, really.
You know, that'll kind of do it as we break down all these teams here. Again, want to remind our viewers out there, Williamson Herald will have all the scores, the reports, the photo galleries. I know you're behind the scenes. You do a ton of that.
Yes, I do. Everything that Charles does, I'm the in guy on that, so I'll take all the credit.
Yeah, he's the inside guy. Well, folks, thanks for listening here. Thanks for tuning in here, and we'll be back next week with more high school football. You've been watching the Williamson Herald High School Football Report.